from the internet to web. This is the last video of part A. So now let's look at the relationship between internet and the web. All right, so let's start. Continuation from the previous video. From the previous video, we just get to the point that the internet was built. The main idea, the basic structure. So we get some understanding. So now, next thing is application. People need to run applications on it. Need to solve some problems. Need to, use the internet to, work for the society. So bring some very useful applications to the people. All right. So the first thing, interesting application, email. Email at that time. So that early time, the most important application at that time. So you can easily understand how important it was at that early time. So how early it is, think about at the end of 1960s, at the beginning of 1970s, that early time, how important was the email. All right. The basic feature, timely transmission of messages. So the description is so short, right? Short description of its feature, main feature, but you can imagine how important it is. Now, so let's look at the invention of email. Someone needs to invent it. The person who invented Ray Tomlinson in 1971, only 2 years after the internet was invented. 2 years, 1969, 1971, only 2 years after the ARPANET at that time, internet was created. All right, so this is the picture of the inventor, Ray Tomlinson. All right, so Ray Tomlinson developed the first email system between users on different hosts across the ARPANET. Description is very simple. All right, so let's look at the procedure a little bit. Simple procedure a little bit. All right. He used the famous @ sign. The @ sign. So right now, so we use it a lot, but at that time, he was the first one to use this @ sign to link the username with a destination server. You need to connect to remote server, right? On the remote server, there are many users using that remote server. Which user you want to connect? You need to specify that username. How to separate the username from the server name, right? @ sign. So that's the reason the @ sign is used by the inventor of the email, Ray Tomlinson. All right. So then, here you can see, so this is the picture, at a later time, so Ray Tomlinson hold that big @ sign, showing people. So this one, we can imagine how big is this special symbol, this @ sign. Right now, in social networks, this @ sign is so popular. So you cannot live without it. Things like that. All right, yeah. So Tomlinson, yeah, another part of the story also very interesting. Tomlinson was hired to write code and the programs, but not for email. Nothing to do with email application. Yeah. His boss never asked him to build email messaging system. That is for his own interest. He liked to develop this technology by his own interest. Yeah, it happened to be a really big invention as an internet application. Yeah, I think his boss can never imagine this employee, Ray Tomlinson, create a super big application on internet. Nothing to do with the business of his boss. Yeah. But that application was much, much bigger than everything combined from his boss, the company. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. All right. So that's the simple story of this email application. All right. Let's go to the next thing. We want to really look at the invention of World Wide Web. Another big, super story. Yeah. We know World Wide Web, we can treat it as another application. Here I use this picture to describe the World Wide Web. Yeah. It came from something of the inventor Tim Berners-Lee. The inventor's name, Tim Berners-Lee. He got some frustration in his own experience. Yeah. So that motivated him to build this great invention on internet. Yeah. So this is the inventor, Tim Berners-Lee. Yeah. His technical background, he was an English engineer and a computer scientist. Perfect background for this invention. Okay. Hardware part and using his engineering background. The software part using his computer science background. The perfect fit. Yeah. All right. Then the problem. He noticed some big problem. Yeah. The problem is inefficiencies in finding information stored on different computers connected by the internet. There are a large number of computers connected by the internet. But how to find information in a convenient way? That's the big problem, right? Yeah, that caused the frustration of Tim Berners-Lee. But the problem is how to solve it, right? Yeah. So Tim Berners-Lee, yeah, he noticed this big problem and he had a sufficient background, so he was trying to solve it. First, you need to have some idea. Okay, yeah, the idea was described in an important document. In 1989, he submitted a memorandum titled Information Management, a Proposal. This document, yeah, so pretty big document. Okay, yeah, dozens of pages. In that document, he described his idea, implementation, a lot of things in details, a lot of details there. Yeah, but here we can only talk about the main idea there. Yeah. All right. So then this time, is used as the invention time of the web. Yeah. You know, this proposal, yeah, the submission of this proposal, that is used as the invention time of the web. Okay, yeah. All right, so next, let us look at the key idea. Yeah. The key idea is described in that document. So here, I just take a paragraph. So let's look at the main idea. Imagine then the references of the, documents stored on different computers in the connected by the internet. Yeah, the references in this document. Yeah, what is this document? The current document you are viewing, right? Yeah, people, read a document, through internet. Yeah, so you read the current document. Yeah, then this document needs to reference multiple other documents on web. At that time, no web terminology at that time. Yeah, connected by the internet. Okay? Yeah. All being associated with the network address. Each document is associated with a network address. Because how do you locate a document to be referenced, right? Use a network address. Okay, yeah. Of the thing to which they referred. So that while reading this document, yeah, so someplace you want to get more information through that network address. How to describe network? Another idea, another big idea. Okay, here just some network address. We need to look at that document to be referenced through a network address in some action, by some action. Okay, yeah. You could skip to them with a click of the mouse. This click of the mouse is the action you need to do. You just click the mouse, you go to the document to be referenced. Okay? But here, this whole description, I think everyone is familiar with that because we do this kind of thing many, many times every day, right? Yeah, we're familiar with this kind of, but at that time, 1989, you can see, you can imagine how big is the idea. This idea is huge at that time. Nobody can realize how important is the idea at that time. People just do not know how big it is. We will see the story a little more. Yeah. All right. The next thing, implementation. How to make this idea happen? That's another very big thing. Yeah. All right, so let's look at the next step, implementation. Yeah. Here we need to start with some, an interesting story that everyone is familiar with. That's this one, the picture. Isaac Newton, right? The apple dropped on his head, then he came up with this big, great physics law. What's that law? The law of universal gravitation. That's the law. Okay? Yeah. So you know the meaning, the details of that law, big law. Yeah. Here I do not need to talk about that law. So here, this story, yeah, Interesting story. It tells you some big idea could come from some very simple observation. Apple dropping on the boy's head. A simple observation, but if you are very smart, you can get an insight from there, inspiration, then you can come up with some big invention. Yeah. The similar situation happens in this web. Yeah. So let's look at Berners-Lee's breakthrough. Yeah. All right. The essence of the idea, implementation part. Yeah, let's look at the implementation part. The essence of that, marry hypertext to the internet. Hypertext. Here you see this terminology. Now we know the meaning of hypertext, right? Text. Yeah. A string that is associated with hyperlink. When you click it, then the web browser will visit URL connected to that hypertext. So you can see another document that is references by the hyperlink. That's the whole meaning behind this one. But at that time, 20-something years ago, that was a big idea. And this idea could not be understood by many people. Most people couldn't understand. What's the meaning of that? All right, so let's look at that. Tim Berners-Lee, he told his, big invention idea, to many of his colleagues. Talked to, many colleagues, try to get them interested. Then some of them could probably work with him together, try to complete that invention, complete that implementation. So now the most important thing is the implementation part. But he needed more people to help him because this is a big thing. Yeah. All right. But the result is not very good. Yeah. He had repeatedly suggested to members of both technical communities. He participated in 2 technical communities. Yeah. So that a marriage between the 2 technologies was possible, but nobody was convinced. In those 2 technical communities, those people were all experts, were all big experts, but they couldn't understand this brilliant idea. They cannot. Okay? Yeah. Just like ordinary people cannot see law of the universal gravitation from apple dropping phenomenon, things like that. Yeah. All right. So let's continue the story. Yeah. All right. So no one took up his invitation to join a team to develop this technology. No one. No one. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Because nobody can understand his idea. Yeah. They don't want to waste time. Yeah. Anyway, at the end, he can only do the project by himself. Yeah. Nobody helped him, so he had to help him by himself. Yeah. Yeah. But for the story later on, actually, there was one person, one of his colleagues really helped him to complete the whole project. Yeah. So we will talk about that in another video. Yeah. This one we cannot cover that part. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then let's look at the final result. Yeah, final result by Christmas 1990. Yeah, you can see the proposal is at 1989, just a little more than 1 year by the Christmas, the end of the 1990. Yeah, Berners-Lee had built all the tools necessary for a working web. In our next video, I will talk about the details of that working web. There are many components. We need to look at several key components to understand that. Yeah, but this one, we cannot cover that much information. Yeah. All right. So now, at the end, the last slide of this video, I want to compare the main difference between internet and the web. Yeah. So that is very important for the understanding. Yeah. All right, so from the pictures, you can see this picture gives you some critical difference. The left-hand side part, that's the internet part. So you can see the internet connecting computers. So it's a hardware thing, right? Yeah, connecting computers, network, physically connect computers. That's the internet part. Yeah. So the right-hand side picture, the web connecting people. Okay, so you can see focus on the software part, right? Information part, the data part. Yeah, so not the hardware part. Okay, emphasize the software part, although rely on the hardware. Yeah, all right. So let's compare the difference. Yeah, properties of the internet. Yeah, here let me give you that list. Yeah. First, it's a global network of networks. Global network of networks. This is referred to local network. So you may have, many local networks. Then they are connected, okay, to form a big global network. So a global network of networks. Yeah. All right. Then a networking infrastructure. It's an infrastructure. Yeah. So providing basic service. Yeah. So here we can use this picture. Yeah. So that's the infrastructure. Yeah. With the highway infrastructure, then people can drive, on the highway, driving cars, on the highway. Yeah. Pretty, close to the relationship between internet and the web. Yeah. All right. And the internet is decentralized by design, decentralized in order to, withstand the attack, right? Yeah, original idea. Yeah. Each internet computer is independent. So the whole internet does not rely on any particular computer. So if it is, broken or removed from the internet, still the whole internet works well, without any problem. Yeah. All right. Supports many applications, including web, email, instant messaging, etc. Yeah. So you have that experience. Yeah. You know a lot more than the list here. Yeah. All right. Then the properties of the web, collection of information accessed via the internet, right? Yeah, collection of information. So this part, information part, or the data part. Yeah. So here we're talking about the data part, running transmission through the internet. Yeah. So that part. Yeah. All right. Then the key idea for the technology make the web application web itself we treat it as an application on the internet, make this particular application work here, makes use of hypertext to access various forms of information. Yeah. So this is the main idea, to make this web application really work. All right. In the next video, I will describe the technical details used by this web